He's crying out, crying.
Was very easy for her to come.
Yeah, she didn't have a lot. You can take care of
Oh my god, what's going on?
A little bit of a It was very interesting, the conversation, what I had with Lady Gore. This put me in a state of psychic abilities where I was like spaced out, just channeling lots of things instead of, but I was very, very focused and present, and I used the breath work as well, the ocean, to be more focused and to be present.
The
It's kind of going.
come back to this like again and again with people that you have very good energy. So this one has very good energy, and when the space is open and set, the frame is set, like the context of what we're doing here is set, and you combine this with a bit of breath work, then amazing things can happen. No, it's not always it's almost opening up the unconscious mind, is the way I look at it. But if you're channeling these things, you can see it however you want to see it. But it's amazing just when someone's there, they have nice energy. You have a context of, hey, we're going to learn and share some things about ourselves, how that can open up things for the person, even if it's, and that's specifically the question that the person is asking. Can just, the fact that someone's opening to it can open up other things in you, because you feel safe, you feel seen, that person is present with you when you're grounded, and you have these, oh. And so people ask me, what's the point of this? There is a point, you know, there's a logical, rational way of observing it, but it's always I come back to this permission to feel whatever you want to feel, it's all good, I'm sharing, I'm interested in you, and I consider they're donating their nervous system, their presence is giving you more power to connect to yourself.
Yeah, because I had noticed that on the beginning we didn't know how to start a conversation, and it was like a shaking, was the tingling of the voice, and after just breathe, and start with the basic stuff, like with the color, but we ending as well with the color.
Yeah.
Of
So it's you think about it like this, you know, this person is saying you're safe. So there's an external connection saying you're safe, and then with the breath work, you're telling yourself, I'm safe. And it's really that's what puts you back. We call it this kind of safety zones, right? We looked at this before where it's fight or flight, and here you're shut down. Maybe when your voice is trembling, you're more in this kind of, I'm not sure, a little bit anxious, maybe you should do something. Or maybe you react by just shutting down and go, no, I don't want to. And both these two loops help you put you back into that state
of the safety.
of safety. It's number one. Safety. So your language, your cues, the way you talk to people, it's all about making them feel safe. When they ask you questions about things, technical things, the fact that you can answer also says, oh, he knows what he's doing, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
So she's safe. It's really simple in some ways.
It is indeed, yeah, and it's not complicated at all, and I used to use some tools which I know as well, but I didn't be aware until today, like to press the attention to the right ear, to make her to understand my questions in the talking, and to visualize just one part, and eye contact and breathing at the same time. Was so interesting, and cool down the conversation and breathing and just listening more and more deep, and to see where goes all this conversation with everything. And I feel the pain what she was holding. This was mysterious stuff, which is okay, be present, listen to your breath, and don't get shocked in another part, and next step. It was so beautiful.
That's great.
Thank you.
Oh. So nice. Oh God, love my job, huh?
Yeah, it's lovely. Thank this course.
Yeah, innit? It's like magic.
It's simple magic though, really, you know? Simple.
Yeah. She's got all the magic wand.
Yes.
Rainbow colour.
I really love that pictures with the dog there, how he stayed. That dog.
Yeah, he wasn't staying there, well, he was actually there
Is
for
that
a
your
long
dog?
time. No, this is in Dubai when I was doing a breathwork.
But that dog was like a soul.
There's a picture of him with the headsets on, it's cute.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
You know when you take it across to other countries, like somewhere like Dubai, is there any kind of restrictions in what you can do?
Only restriction, no.
And you can swear as well as much as you want.
Sure, everywhere. Used to, you know, people would say like, again, it's just being yourself. There will be some cost to me swearing, but no one ever cares, you know, because I just swear sometimes. All right, well, it's kind of, as long as you're being yourself, I'm not faking swearing, or I'm not doing that. It's just the way the word I want to use then is fuck. You know?
Yeah.
And so you will lose some people. When yourself, there's an idea, I think very interesting idea called polarization. Have you heard of it? And the idea is that when you are yourself and when you say what you feel and you really think,
Yeah.
for example, you know, now when I tell stories, they go, because I'm a handsome Irish man with curly hair, you know, and some people will go arrogant fuck. But do I really want to be interacting with those people anyway? Not really. And so the more authentic you are, you push away the people who don't resonate with you, and that's fine. And you draw the people who are into it. And you do that as early as possible because that makes the connections better and the vibe better and all those energy. And you just have to be okay with the fact that not everyone's going to take it. But most people will take it as long as it's authentic as well, you know, they'll
Well, at
accept it.
lunch, there was a lot of swearing.
Yeah.
In the conversation, I actually said to you, like, oh, everyone's like, giving themselves permission to just swear.
What did you get from James's course? I swear a lot more.
Yeah, that's fine.
But my husband swears a lot, so it feels like I'm at home.
That's good, I suppose.
There was a very good American comedian, and I don't remember the name. He used to start his events, you know, like, it was very, very famous. Lots of people in the theater, and he used to start like this, fuck you, just to make you feel at home. That was his start, you know.
Oh my God. Who invented that word?
Jay should say it.
No,
I don't swear.
You
Not
don't
even in
swear?
your mind.
You don't swear?
That's a good one.
I mean, it's not good, it's not bad, it's just different. But usually people that don't swear, what I found interesting is that they make an effort to find another definition of
That same
of
word.
who you are, and usually, I mean, sometimes it would be better to receive a fuck you than hearing what you think about that person. When you don't swear, you say other things, and it can be more painful than maybe the
I don't get really angry
Huh?
often. I might in the first reading. I don't get angry.
How do you do? I think so anyway. I find this beautiful in other people, but if I think about it, I don't get angry very often too. Outside, maybe, but what about inside? No.
Hold on.
Oh, that's good.
What is
It's taken me a
true?
long time.
So it's something you learn.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a discipline. It's your nature.
It's able to recover.
Recover with breath, this one.
On my online course, I have every week one of the students delivers the breath work and one of the students delivers a mini visualization. And people get really, people get really nervous, you know? Like similar when you're doing the little teaching demo, you know, that when there are other people around, insecurities come out, especially when it's a new field and you're pressing yourself. But it means that I get a free breath work and a visualization every week. You know? And when they do it, it just reminds me of how powerful it is, because it's very easy to forget to do this stuff yourself, because I'm busy running around. And when somebody you know there's a beautiful emotion to it when someone's a little bit shy, but they're doing it well, you know, and they're sharing it, and everyone else is encouraging them when they say, "Oh, well done." So yeah, it's really powerful stuff. And even simple breathwork is so powerful sometimes. Just subtle, okay, let's just relax for a moment, and everyone relaxes together in a really subtle way.
I was surprised how nervous I was.
Yeah. It's great. No, I mean, one of the questions I get often is, how can I get rid of fear? And you should, fear is your lifelong companion. Fear is a compass, and fear mobilizes you and makes you realize things about yourself, and you step into the fear a little bit. And if you step into the right amount of fear, it makes you feel alive,
Fear of fear. Fear to be afraid.
Yeah, fear
That
being
is
afraid.
the
Fear,
worst.
that's the worst. Fear being afraid, like an overriding fear
Because
being afraid.
you don't even try to
Yeah.
do something that you're fearful
Exactly,
for.
exactly. And that's happens to so many people. Fear, like the ultimate feeling of just I don't want to fuck up, but so they don't do it. And ultimately, that's the biggest fuck up.
You're always more than what you think you are.
Yeah, well, you're always way, and you're more parts, You're made up of so many other parts. You're not just one thing. There are all these different personalities and parts inside you that play different roles. It's nice to explore. And learning languages is nice like that as well, because you discover viscerally these other parts of you. When you learn another language and you speak it, you realize, oh, in this language I have this other personality, and I have this
Yeah,
other way of
that's true.
perceiving.
Yeah, you can articulate differently
Yeah,
in another language.
yeah, and you feel things, and words resonate in different ways, and you can circumvent some of your emotional blocks. I found like when I learned Spanish, I could say things in Spanish that I couldn't say in English. I can say I love you so much easier in Spanish. I can talk about so many different things like in Spanish because I've built these blocks in English, and you circumvent them. When you go back to speaking language, oh, that's that one version of me. Oh, I am this thing that I think I am. There's so many parts of me. It's very interesting.
Same for me. I'm Italian, and for me.
We noticed.
Why? and for me, it's easier to talk about love, and even within myself, I think more about love in English than in Italian.
Well,
So it's not. I think it's not the language, or it's the language, because you enter in another. You are different.
well, there's two ways I think about it. One is that you circumvent some of the emotional blocks and associations you have in that language, and another one is Murakami, the Japanese author. He said he loves giving speeches in English, and they said, "Why? But you're so limited with your words in a foreign language." He said, "Exactly. When I speak in Japanese, I have so many choices that whatever I say, I always think I could have said it better. But whatever I say in English, that was all I could say because every word I had."
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, English is good for.
And
I
it's
tell my-
clear for instructions.
I
it's
tell my daughter,
better.
like, English is easy, Portuguese is a much richer language.
Yeah, like
Because she's
Italian.
learning Portuguese now. I mean, I taught her until she was 3, and then she went to school and she didn't want to talk anymore. And now she's getting that back. And she was like, wow, there's all these different ways to say things.
And also that we use language sometimes, the smarter you are, the more you can use language to not say something, to not be direct. Whereas we have limited vocabulary. Like, I want to say to my girlfriend that I like her, or I love her, right? But I have great English vocabulary, and so I don't say it directly, I dance around and use all these different constructions. Whereas if I'm speaking this language, it always says, you say what you actually mean, you say what you see, you say, hey, I love you. I remember when I was learning Spanish and I was dating her,
I said to her, I have something really important I want to say to you. Tengo algo muy importante para decirte. She looked and said, what is it? And I said,
Is she Spanish?
she's Italian.
It's Spanish.
Speaks
Oh,
Spanish.
yeah.
And I said in Spanish, te gusto, pero te gusto mucho. Which I was trying to say was, I like you a lot. But because of the way the verbs are constructed in Spanish, when I said to her this, I have something very important to say to you. I looked her deep in the eyes and I said, you like me. You like me enough. She's like, thanks, James.
I bet that was really intense for her.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's a butcher in Granada, and my job as a man was to go and get the meat and she would cook it. And so I was going to this butcher for like 5 months, and I would go in, and I would say to him, quiero un kilo de polla. And he would go, he would look at me and go, okay, and he'd hand me a kilo of chicken. And then I went back one day with my girlfriend, let's go, she said, I'm going down, we're just going together. And she standing beside me and I said, quiero un kilo de polla. And the guy looked at her and she looked at me and they looked at her and I was like, what? And I was like, what? And then they both started laughing and I said, chicken in Spanish is pollo. Polla is penis. I have been asking for a kilo of penis for 5 months, and that butcher had been looking at me straight faced, you know, like, and he would say to me, here is your kilo of penis, and I would say, thank you for this kilo of penis. And I looked at that moment, and it was almost like I tipped my hat at him, because all the, you know, the reconfiguration of the entire 5 months of interactions you can have, and I almost. And then I found, oh my God, well done, bro. You held that together for 5 months.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Right, let's get these everyone's on the coffee. Oh.
I don't know when this day got so quick. And I didn't feel bored. And I get bored very easily.
How would you get your Brazilian? Well, no, I mean,
I have to go to Battersea, but I will try after.
Like you could Brazilian.
I can fall into all sorts of,
I'm Persian.
all sorts of ranges. Persian is a good one, it's so vague, you know? Yeah, Persian just sounds Persian.
yeah.
Persian.
Well, it's basically Iranian.
Yeah, I know, but Iranian doesn't sound as good as that.
Yeah,
And
no,
Iranians are
Persian.
amazing people, by the way.
Yeah, I have
Oh
a
my
couple
God.
friends. Yeah,
Iranians are like in the top.
Persian is more mystical.
Yeah, Persian. Like,
Armenian, so
Prince of
Iran,
Persia.
Iranian you're talking about.
No idea what
What?
is that.
Did you say Armenian or Iranian?
Iranian.
We
Does
ban-
anyone
have a phone charger I could borrow?
Yeah, iPhone or USB-C.
You can post course.
Yeah.
I have all the cables here, look,
Oh, yeah?
and I have a hub. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a 3 types, so whatever you have, I have.
Okay, let's say you have the plug?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a hub here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have one here. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Nice, the original.
Yeah,
Original
no,
iPhone.
no,
Posso ir aqui à porta?
Thank you.
Oh, this is the type C, right?
Yeah.
E és de onde? Do Brasil?
Yeah, this one. Oh, yeah.
Porto Alegre.
Seja Lisboa?
Sou de Lisboa.
Ah, this is the Lisbon,
Adoro
okay.
Lisboa.
So Lisboa.
Teve várias vezes lá, né?
Agora vivo em Peniche, que é uma hora de Lisboa. Vivo na praia.
One I
Ai,
need.
que legal.
Ao pé da Nazaré. Na zona gigante. Estive agora no Brasil, tive 2 meses no Brasil. Estive no Rio, só.
Yeah, that's right. Just done right.
Já tinha ido antes? Não.
Fui quando era muito novo, não me lembrava muito bem.
Where are you sitting? Here.
Mas pá, fiquei apaixonado pelo Brasil, gostei muito. Aliás, vou
Eu
voltar.
morei no Rio, morei em Copacabana por dois verões aqui trabalhando com
Ok.
turismo.
Pá, gostei muito, também estava ali em Itália.
Yeah.
Adorei. Vou voltar ao Brasil daqui a um mês.
Que legal, para fazer um retreat.
Vou estudar
You back, guys?
comunicação não violenta. Não sei se
Ah, okay.
vou te fazer.
Isabel? There.
Yeah,
You're not
Isabel.
Mas você
Já fiz alguns cursos.
eu só li o livro e eu ouço muito assim no podcast, então eu quero aprender mais também, quero ser
Still recording. We should make some faces here.
This is what I was doing yesterday at the event.
Oh, is this? Oh, wow.
It's me doing a wash a ritual for the girls after them.
Squash like lymph stuff? Or what? Yeah, well, of course.
So they did the yoga session that I think is for the wash ritual for credit, and then we did a sound bath with the ladies singing beautifully. I've been to sound bath and never someone singing. Well, if I was Zen already from here, I was like, this is
You know, one of the things about sound, nothing against sound therapists, but it's one of the ones that has relatively low barriers to entry as a wellness thing. Because what happens is you don't do yoga, you don't do meditation, you don't do anything, but you have €3,000 and you go, you buy the crystal balls and you come in and bing bang boom, and there are really good ones, but they're also very shit ones. And a lot of them aren't musical. They just go, yeah. And so when you find one who's actually musical and can sing over, then okay, thank you.
She's like another level. I've been to quite a few some baths before, but yeah, no, she's amazing. So yeah, it's a full-on weekend.
Zen it up.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're going to begin. A couple of things I want to make a point. One is when you're asking specifically, obviously, this feels logical levels that we just went through. There are a few things you're doing with that. You're connecting, you're showing curiosity, presence, you're not judging, so you're making that person feel safe, you're reframing certain things, and you're getting a lot of information, okay? This information can then be applied. So remember, we have this model here where you filter them in certain ways. This is how we filter reality, and we filter through our belief systems, our memories, and all these different experiences and cultural values. And you can use this information to intervene on this. And we're going to look at one of the tools that you can use. One point I would like to make as well, which is slightly off topic. Whenever you are making presentations or you're doing training or doing coaching, this might make you uncomfortable, but I highly recommend that you video it. I can't recommend it enough to video yourself doing whatever you're doing. So I video all of these and I rarely use them, but afterwards what I do at lunch is I go through them. Like I speed through and I go, and I pick out like little vocal warbles that I have or things I could have done better, not in a critical way. Just go, okay, like I noticed that watching some of the videos, I noticed I'm saying, okay, stop that. And your capacity to look at yourself and just say, okay, that's that, and take action on it. You improve so quickly, so quickly, because it's a feedback loop. And feedback loop is like one of the big principles of hypnosis and of breathwork and of everything. So giving yourself feedback opportunities to learn from yourself is really valuable. Just a thought. And so, now, we're going to talk about timeline therapy. This is like, and by the way guys, in the manual, some of you are asking, in the manual there are loads, I spent a lot of time on that manual. I don't use it in the training so much because I want to be as experiential as possible and I'd be able to feel things, reflect on it, ask questions and answer them. But in that manual there are 20 or more, 30 NLP tools which are well explained, which have a section at the back which have scripts. So when you're doing a Wim Hof or you're doing some of these breathworks and someone's lying down and have their eyes closed, you can refer to that manual saying, oh, I want to work on limiting beliefs, I want to work on this, and you can look through that and try it. Try it with your friends or your family or whatever and just get some feedback. Did you like that? And remember, the language that you're using is permission based. It's like you can do this or you can do this. Whatever you feel like is up to you. Okay? Now, timeline therapy. Let's take, tell me someone who has a sort of a tragic story that you know, has a difficult past and some having problems at the moment. Here we go.
Wife suicides, left alone with 4 kids.
Oh my God.
That's the first one that comes to your mind.
That's the Wim Hof. That's the Wim Hof story.
Okay. Okay. Give me some. Okay, we can do that, but let's someone you know. It's not Wim Hof. Someone's difficult dealing. Someone who has problems and it stems from a particular thing that they're dealing with.
I have a friend that just got divorced, and he's married with a Brazilian girl, and now she wants to go back to Brazil, and they have a kid with 1 year old, and he's struggling because he wants to keep a good relation, but she also wants to go back to Brazil, so he's afraid that he wants to stay in Portugal, and but he also wants to stay with the kid.
Okay, so
That's
okay. Let's try it. Let's say that his aim is to improve his relationship with his ex-wife because this relationship is really important for being able to move forward. Okay, so he comes to, what's his name?
Pedro.
Pedro. Okay? Pedro comes back and he says, I really want to reconcile with my ex-wife, but every time I do, I keep getting triggered by this memory of this thing that she said to me. We were in this situation where she said this thing and it stuck in my gut and I can still feel, we all have memories of these things, right? I love her, said something or something happened, right? And so, we have this tool which is called timeline therapy. And the principles of timeline therapy, has anyone heard of rapid transformational therapy? Yeah, Marissa Pearce? I'm going to explain, I'm going to give you a mini Marissa Pearce course in 5 minutes, okay? So Pedro, we talked to him a little bit and he says, yeah, I have this anxiety and I think, it stems from this relationship with this girl. And you go, okay, Pedro. And you have him lie down, maybe do some breath work, maybe you've done Wim Hof before, something to ground him, and then induction. Now Pedro, let's take you back to a memory where this behavior or this limiting belief first started to show itself. Your unconscious mind, this is a good one by the way, he said, your unconscious mind, which is an embedded command saying you're unconscious. So you're saying your unconscious mind, but you say it in such a way that your unconscious mind knows exactly when this began. And you bring him back and say, okay, I do this talking. Let's say he can be lying down, you're sitting beside him, we can sing up and say, okay, going back, drifting back to this memory. And when you come to that place, here we are, okay, where are you? Okay, you're floating, you can have him floating above watching this scene. And he says, where are you? What do you see? I'm standing beside my wife in the sitting room. Okay, what's happening? Well, she's saying, I've always loved your brother. This is awkward. He's like, oh. Okay. And the things you can say, what did you feel right then? What did you see? What were you thinking? Okay. Now, the aim of what you're doing, why are we having him floating above, guys? It's called disassociation, because it gives a sense of safety. Okay? He's looking down on this scenario. He's saying, what did you see? What do you feel? And you can just talk a little bit like that. Why do you feel like that? What do you think happened? Etc. etc. The aim of this, guys, is twofold. One, you want to help him actually, well, I'm going to say what, threefold. One, it's curiosity. You want to have him curious about what's happening. And then to release some of the emotions connected with this event and to reframe his understanding of that. Now, we don't have time to go into this too deeply, but releasing in some way, it can be visualization, where he visualizes holding something that represents this feeling for him, and it can dissolve. He can change the submodalities of this, so he can take this image and push it far away, make it gray and make it dim, and notice how he feels about that. Okay, those are two options you can use. Symbol, or just making that image gray, far away, different. Okay, so you ask him how he feels, you help him release some of those emotions. This is simplification. And then you might want to reframe this, because he might feel that because of this relationship and this incident, he's incapable of love, or he'll never be able to find another lover, or that this woman, this whole relationship was a waste of time, nothing meaningful happened through it. And you might help guide him through. So what do you think about that? I think she's a bitch, right? Or I can't believe I wasted all my time. Like, but maybe did you perhaps learn anything from this? Is who you are, the good parts of who you are now, partially because of this relationship? Were there moments of deep connection with this person that have served you well in this current situation? Okay? Release and reframe. And he releases something that's okay. Then, so now, Pedro, let's take you into a future not far from now, where you're living free from this insert behavior, concept, identity, whatever that is. Okay? Same again, he's floating above, looking down. Where are you? And you be talking. What are you doing? He says, oh, I'm in a house. Where are you? I'm in a house, I think it's Italy, and there's a beautiful lady beside me, and I have a little boy there beside me. And how do you look? I look happy and radiant, and was the woman looking at? She's looking at me, and what does she look like? She was full of love, and we're happy together, and the child is playing. Okay, now Pedro, I would like you to step into this body, to imagine yourself drifting into this body, and feeling the sensations and the thoughts of the person, this version of you that's so accessible in this near future. What does it feel like? Oh, I feel good, I feel empowered. Can you look through those eyes and look at the eyes of this person? What do you feel? What do you notice about yourself? Great. I feel this. Okay. Now Pedro, let's imagine, you can have him imagine a symbol. Can we imagine a symbol for this? Perhaps. What symbol would best represent this? You say, oh, a little stone or a cross. It's okay. Take this cross into your hand, put it in your pocket, and now we're going to take you back, as you take all the information, all the love and all the energy back to this present moment as you're lying here on the floor. And now can you feel how actually perhaps you are already this person, that this future is totally available to you, and has always been available to you. How does that feel? Okay. That's like a long course you'd normally be doing, but some of the principles here that are important. Dissociation, when helping someone deal with a difficult feeling, memory, or situation, you have them look at it from a third person perspective. They have them change the submodalities, what did it look like, were there any smells or sounds, and you have them make them less dim, less significant, less grey, which reduces the emotional charge. And you can talk to him a little bit about maybe some things you didn't notice about this, because he's fixated on the same thing. He's looping. Maybe you learned something from this you don't realize. Maybe you become somebody because of this. Maybe it wasn't all bad. Okay? Now let's imagine that a world in which you're not living, you take the future, and in this case, when you want to increase emotional relationships, you embody this. You have to associate into this version, and again, you have to feel and see all these feelings and sensations. And essentially, in this case, this is a reframe and a release, and this is just basic, everyone still feels like this is like Tony Robbins or NLP or what's his name, Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Oh yeah.
If I say Dr. Joe Dispenza, oh yeah.
Joe.
And here, and he's great, and here you're just You're using the power of your mind to connect to a future version of yourself, and you're adding emotion to that. You make it meaningful and connect to it, so that your brain has the opportunity on a conscious and unconscious level to start looking for signs. I was talking to my friend about this yesterday, for signs in reality around you that this thing might be available to you. Right? So I had these two girls, these Polish girls, who were staying with me for a couple of days in Barcelona. And every morning, they were wacky as fuck, it was like 7-dimension shit, I don't even know, but they were great fun. And in the morning they would get up and they would say, they would decide what they were going to do, they'd be journaling, and then they would come to a point going, what should we do with this, with the business? And then she'd say, let's ask the universe to send us a sign. She'd go, great idea. Universe, send us a sign, right? And then what would happen? They would walk out into the world, right? And what would they look for? Signs. And what would they find? Signs. And they'd be curious and excited about finding the signs in the universe. And every day they'd find the sign. Oh look, hi, do you know anything about this? You go, yeah, I do. Universe, right? And so you're priming your unconscious mind to look for opportunities for this thing to happen. You don't have to work like crazy, you just have to frame reality and set an intention and build an emotional base for that to happen. Now, this sounds kind of complex in some ways, maybe, I don't know. Does it sound complex?
A little bit.
A little bit, exactly. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted it to sound a little complex. And you don't have to follow this full format. You can just talk to someone about the problem and say, let's go back and find a difficult situation. And just by doing that, by discussing with them, by having them look at it, by having them talk out, by being present, by sharing this experience, they'll start to kind of reframe it as well. Naturally, well, actually, you don't have to go, what about this? They go, And when you ready, you feel, and remember, you feel there's a part of you that's ready to let go, and say, yeah, I am ready to let go, okay. Let's think of a symbol. What symbol would you like? Boom, 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 let it go. And let's vision a future where you live without this. Where are you? What's happening? Okay? So you've taken them through this nice little span, here, over here, and then back. Yeah.
About the feelings, is the present feelings about the past event?
Yeah, as they're watching it. Exactly.
Okay.
As they're watching it, what are the feelings that are coming
And
up?
the feelings are from the present, are not
Yeah.
thinking about the feelings of the past.
Well, they're from this position, as you watch it, how does it make you feel as you watch this?
Yeah, it's the present.
Yeah, in a sense, but it's this version that's watching that, exactly.
It's like a memory. You see yourself in the past.
Yeah.
So you are here, you're there,
Present.
you are there, and then you go back on your memories, what's
In a
happened.
dream,
Yeah,
you kind
that's
of
what
look
I'm
at
like.
yourself, as a third person.
Yeah, we do this all the time. We just do this all the time, but it's just using imagination and emotion and rewiring some of the patterns of thought, because people think in loops. I had another conversation with where were we at? Some conversation, Isabel. We're having a conversation about addictions, and I would say I have an addictive personality. And whenever I get into something that starts to get into loop, to be honest, what I do is I go and I have a little mushroom trip. Now, I'm gonna go for a walk in nature and have a mushroom trip, and I come back. What happens when you do this, guys, is you're starting to we have these loops. 95% of thoughts are the same. When you take mushrooms or you do breath work or different kind of things, you open up neuroplasticity, and you have the opportunity to make different connections in your brain, and they form over and it's changed. And I come back and go, all right, well, I don't have to work on that. It's just changed. And similarly with this timeline therapy, when someone feels safe and seen, and you take them back and you're connected with them, you're present with them, and you help them look at a situation, they'll naturally start to form different connections with that memory. You can help them through visualizations, the reframing, but it's the presence of you and the feeling of safety and just a little bit of little push from you, they can already start to rewire these things. And then you finish it off by taking the future, where you leave them with this empowering thought. And anyone have any input, Antonio? Yeah.
When you take them back, like to where the root of that problem or that feeling is, what if they don't know where that root is?
So almost everyone can go back to a memory. Almost everyone can go back to something. And then sometimes if you're doing the RTT, you'll go back again and again. I'll go back to it because there's not just one, right? I'll go back to anxiety. I'll go back and I'm here, where are you? I'm 15, I'm standing on a stage and they're laughing at me. You run it through. Okay, let's go back to another memory. Where are you now? I'm in the garden and my mom is gone and I can't find my cat. Go back.
Can I say something? So when you go back, but with the information that you got now. So your perception about your past is changed because you got new information. So you don't have to feel as angry as you were when happened in time because you experienced the event with new information about what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you're more informed.
Yeah.
You're in a different space, you're not in that moment of those feelings, I understand that. But say you said,
Can I give you an example? Can I give an example of timeline?
Sure, give me what you got.
Very
1 minute,
quick.
go.
Very quick. Timeline, this woman, 44 years old, she had a very bad relationship with her sisters and her mother because she believed that her mother prefers her sisters and she was the black sheep. Okay. So she went back in time. When was the first time that you got the feeling that you start to believe that you were the black sheep? And she went back in time until the age of 7. First communion, photographers, the house full of people for her, but she felt like neglected because everybody was busy preparing the photographers, the flowers, and she was like felt alone. So her sister were working with her mother, so she started to believe this. But revisiting that event with the information that she's got now, with the arm of now, 44 years old, she's a fucking, actually, they were, of course they love me because they were working and they were doing everything for me. So we, going back in time with what we know now, then you change your perception that you had in the past, and then you resolve, and then you go in the future and you use the new feeling of yourself or whatever you have to heal.
Good. Very, very good point. Now coming to your actual question. But it was a good illustration of that. It's a very good point. You take back the information as an adult and you look at this and say, but you haven't gone back and looked at it. You've been working on this emotional loop because you've been stuck in it, and there's a part of you who's operating still with that. And going back now, you go, it's clear now. I just haven't been willing to go back and look at it. I haven't had the opportunity or someone to hold the space for me to do that. And now, when I look at it from this perspective, I can reframe that shit myself. I can release it, but I'm having the opportunity to actually go and feel it and let it go. Feel it, look at it, and let it go. Now, to your point, you take them back to one incident. Maybe you don't feel that, and you don't feel that's it. We go back again. We go back again. And maybe you get 2 or 3 instances. And then you ask them, say, hey, now, take these three memories and hold them in your hand. And now hold the present version of yourself in your other hand. Can you see how these memories and these feelings have led you to be the person you are today? And they'll go, yeah, actually, it's really clear. So, for example, in my story, I'm talking about driving with my dad, right? Driving my dad, and I say well done, he's like, no, shut up. Say well done, Dad, please. You know, for me, that was one of those. I was like, and I had that. I had a little bit of emotional release, and then let know it. So driving, and I had another piece, and another part of me, and that's also what you're trying. That's why I mentioned curiosity here. Is to like just understand yourself, see why you're without judgment. So of course, it makes sense. If your dad is not capable of, for whatever reason, of giving you love, if you, as a little girl, got lost and that memory got stuck and frozen, you ran on a loop, it makes it clear. That's a really nice thing you do. Now, in this case, guys, you're going to split into pairs. We're going to do this. Can you go back to memories, talk about one thing you'd like to change, go back, have them see this, maybe talk about it a little bit with them. They're lying down there with their eyes closed. You have them, you want to let this go? And they go, yeah, let's let it go. It's like, okay, that's a matter of thing. And then take them to the future. Don't worry too much about whether I'm doing exactly right. You don't need to take your notes. Just know you're going back. Take them back to a memory, any challenging memory that they have that's a bit frustrating for them. Ask them about it. Ask them to release it. See if there's anything learned. And then go to the future.
It's like hypnosis.
It is hypnosis. Yeah, this is the basic. Yeah. This is RTT. This is like rapid transformation therapy. That's what it is. You can dress it up in a million different ways. It'll charge you €15,000 to do it. but that's it. I just saved you a lot of money.
I did check that one.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's great. She's great. Look.
Yeah, don't let
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, if you want to learn that, just get her book, Tell Yourself a Better Lie, which is a very good book. It goes through some case studies, and the fundamental principle of is this: is all lies. There is no real subjective story. You know, you tell yourself a version of events for you that's more useful. Tell yourself something about your past that gives you an empowering version of yourself that allows you to move forward towards something meaningful for yourself, and manipulate that shit so you can do that, because there's so many versions of events, and this is just giving you an opportunity to look at it in a different way. Okay?
Sorry,
Yeah.
you maybe said that you're starting with the present challenge, right? And then you get to the belief into the past.
Yeah, exactly. Say, hey, what's something that's frustrating in your life, or think, hey, I feel I'm too anxious, or I've got addictive personality, or not comfortable in social situations. You say, okay, let's go back to a memory where this all began. And you know, we'll go back to it. We're only training here, we're all in a room together, so we're going to, we might describe something.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time, yeah, this thing happens. It's always been annoying. Okay, let's look at it. Okay? New partner. Find a new partner. One is the hypnotizer, or the timeline ripper. And this is the non-ripper. Let's do it. Let's do it, bro. Let's get deep.
Yeah, I'll be the 10 to start.
Yeah, use real stuff, guys. Use real stuff. Don't keep them fucking. You know, when I was Mr. Universe, it was tougher. It wasn't as easy as all the girls thought. I was having so much sex at the time.
I'm just a little bit concerned of going back and bringing up stuff that's already been dealt with.
If it goes back, then I need to go.
Oh, okay.
If you said something, let's go back to, you know, if you say, I've got this problem, let your unconscious mind knows exactly where this began. If someone has an issue now and they come to you, you say, go back to that issue, then stuff will come up. We also have to reframe that it's okay for shit to come up. It doesn't mean that you're opening old wounds. You're just giving an opportunity to let something go. So that they go back to it, it means that they haven't dealt with it. So for example, in the session in Beijing, there was two ladies, and one of them went back, this guy, he went back, he'd been bullied as a child, you know? And she said, okay, describe the situation, challenging, oh this. And she said, how do you feel about that now? And he's like, oh fine, totally deaf. And his leg was keeping like that, and I was watching this going, they haven't. They haven't. But also that, at the very least, you're going to learn more about your clients and know more things about them. But I would tell you it's important.
Yeah, I'm okay being the practitioner, the therapist. I'm referring to when I'm laying down being laid down.
Try it and see. Right.
Oh, we're not going Good luck to change.
I can use one that I've used a few times, which is my first object. My dad passed away 5 years ago.
Okay.
But I guess it's a feeling that will never go away. I kind of just said it forever.
Yeah, mine's 12.